What's up, guys, and welcome to Scourge of War Waterloo, episode 31, part 4. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the final part of the Battle of Ligny here as the Prussians. In the last episode, we turned back an attack by Duret's division of Derland's corps on our extreme right flank, but the French turned up the heat intensely here at Saint Armand. They brought up some cavalry. We deployed some squares over on the left here to keep them at bay. But the French brought up the Imperial Guard. They brought up the chasseurs of the Guard as well as the Young Guard. They haven't as yet really started putting them into use. However, they did start moving out on the right and started shooting this square up, which was initially over here. You can see all the bodies over it. And basically through use of cavalry harassing tactics as well as skirmishers shooting up our squares, they did force us to fall back and give up our initial position that we had up here, and we've now fallen back behind the creek, where we're a little safer. We've now kind of divided the French cavalry away from the French infantry, which should better protect our squares, and we still have our infantry, our skirmishers in front of our guns, and we have a nice natural barrier of this little tributary of the Ligny Creek here, or the Ligny River, running in front of us. So if any French do approach into this area, we now have two batteries back here, and we should be able to put quite a hurting on them. We have, however, lost the church again at Saint Armand. The French now have the church. Without the church, the French can more easily pour through the town, which makes our position a little bit more tenuous. We're going to see how it's gonna bear out here. Things at Ligny and the Tongren area are pretty much status quo as they have been for the past episode or two. The French really can't seem to get anything going at those 2 points. So here we are. We are at 1930 hours. We have 2 hours left in the battle. We have already achieved enough points for a major victory, and now we just have to protect our lead and try and increase it by inflicting more casualties and still trying to hold on to the objectives. So let's get her going here. All right, so this is 1930, exactly where we left off last time. As you can see, the French now have possession of the church, and we've fallen back a little bit and given up kind of the left side of the church and the flank in here. We have a skirmish unit out here. We have a couple of small units out here, but we're prepared to pull them back pretty much as soon as the French start moving forward. The Imperial Guard is out here. The chasseurs are here. The Young Guard is back here somewhere, although some of them look like they're starting to move forward. The French have still not really been able to bring their artillery effectively to bear. They've got it bunched up back here, but it's not doing too much good. Nothing really going on in the center of our line. We've smashed Berthazin's division. We've smashed Gerard's division. There's not much left of Duret's division over here. You can see we forced this unit into square. This unit does not want to engage, and the cavalry is just kind of holding back. So we're in sort of a standoff, a stalemate right here. I'm not really interested in trying to engage them too heavily, and nor are they interested in engaging us. We have 22,464 points, so well ahead of what we need for a major victory. The key here is going to be to protect our lead. In the last 2 hours of the battle, generally that's when the French really start to turn on the heat. That's when they bring up a lot of their reinforcements. That's where they'll commit the Guard, maybe Lobau's Corps, some more cavalry. That's where they'll really start to try and make their push. So here we are in the last 2 hours of the battle here. As you can see, we still control Ligny, pretty much all of it, that we've controlled since the beginning of the battle. We've, at the very beginning of the battle is when we pulled back and occupied that line behind the initial part of the town there, and we've been holding on to it very easily ever since. So this is the hot spot right now here at Saint Armand. However, the French have kind of stalled. They got an initial success here in that they've taken the church and they've pushed us back, but the Imperial Guard is still sitting out there. It looks like they're sending in elements of the Young Guard to try and come in this way, and to avoid having to come in on this side and face the artillery. They're going to try and come in here again. This is okay. I'd rather fight in here. We have our skirmishers. They have to come through the town, and they won't exactly be in a great battle order. Kind of the same situation facing Vichery's division over at Ligny. We still got a decent amount of artillery backing us up here. And as always, just keeping the supply wagon runs going to keep the artillery full of ammo. And we still got some skirmishers out here. We're still shooting at the church out here, trying to clear out whatever units are in there. Got a tiny little 27-man skirmisher unit out there that's doing nobody any good. Might as well bring them back. Now, the first time we lost the church, we lost it to an old guard skirmisher unit. And we were actually able to shoot them out of there and recapture the church. We've since lost it again, and now it looks like elements of the young guard are in the church. I again don't know if it's a skirmisher unit, but we are trying to shoot at it and see if we can get them out of there. We've got two big batteries of artillery back here now. So if this area here is forced to fall back behind the creek, this is a really nice position in terms of being able to shoot at any enemy units that come in this area, because it's going to take them a while to cross the creek because it's going to slow down their movement, and we're close enough that we're going to be unloading canister into them while they try to do that. So it looks like rather than try to do that and approach frontally here, they're trying to go around in through the town, which presents its own problems in that we're behind the town and we can form a cohesive battle line while they kind of have to snake through the openings and try and get something going once they come out. So let's see what they're going to do here. I am very surprised that the chasseurs are just sitting back there. Basically doing nothing. It's almost like the AI brought the Imperial Guard up to scare us, but doesn't really want to commit them. Well, this pretty much looks like a fridge break here. That's probably why the screen isn't moving. Probably ran off to the fridge. I usually look for stable moments to do that, where there's nothing going on or nothing crazy going on. And right now it looks like after an initial success of driving us out of this area in here, the French have now kind of stalled. In a way, by driving us off this position, and they've kind of made things worse for themselves in that, well, now they've got their cavalry much more separated from their infantry, because I was able to pull the squares back, and the squares are further to the left now. So they can't do what they were doing to us before, harassing our squares with skirmishers while driving my skirmishers that were screening them off with the cavalry, because now the squares are too far away. Alright, so these little units here are not doing so well against the church. And at this point I'm pretty much, convinced that's not a skirmisher unit in there. That's, a full unit. It's going to be hard to drive them out of there. So I'm sort of kind of abandoning my attempt to take back the church here. I'm basically ceding it to the French at this point. And I'm almost trying to withdraw here and almost invite them to come in here. I really want them to, because I have so much artillery back here that we will just crush anything that goes in. This is a death zone in here. And I'm almost trying to bait the French to kind of come in and take the bait and you know, in thinking that they're going to push home their advantage, we're really going to just smash into them with all this artillery. So yeah, I'm ceding the whole church area to the French at this point. We still have the objective, so we're still getting points, and we'll try and hold kind of in here and see what they do here. Oh, the passing in this game. Where do these guys think they're going? Look at this. All this to get around to here. They're getting shot at by the men in the church all the while they're trying to... Sometimes the passing in this game can be really dumb. Especially when you have units like tightly packed together like this. Sometimes the unit just cannot find a pass, or a logical pass to the location you want them to do. And this was done, I think, back in Scourge of War Gettysburg, to stop units from overlapping each other and crisscrossing each other, which was sort of a big issue in that game as far as your units getting all tangled up and messed up. And so some of these passing protocols were introduced to prevent that overlapping effect. And well, now, you know, sometimes that causes some passing issues as far as trying to find logical paths to the locations that you set for a unit. So in this instance, rather than just go through here, the unit just ran around this side and took a couple of losses while they were doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna start to pull back a little bit, get some of these units out of here, pull them back out of firing range, and basically see if we can just entice the French to come into this whole area where I could bomb the crap out of them. This unit's doing pretty good. They've got 370 points. But now that they're solely engaging the church here, I have a feeling that they're point total. All right, now you can see over in the left here, the French are indeed starting to advance. So maybe we might have some luck here in getting them to come into range of our artillery here, which is what I've been hoping for the whole time here since I started pulling back like this. And we'll pull these skirmishers back and just invite them to come in ever closer. You can see now they've got 2 units in the church, and they're also advancing units through the church and out into the open here. So again, we're going to start pulling back in this area here, and hopefully we can entice some of the French to move forward and start getting pounded on by this artillery. Now, I've thinned out some of my defenses over in this area because this was the hot spot over here for a long time. So hopefully they don't decide to, you know, start attacking there again. All right, here they come. So we got 1 battalion moving forward. These guys here are moving forward. See what they're going to do. That's an old guard unit, so... And these guys are setting up in line. And there we go with the cannons. This is exactly what I wanted. Hit them with the canister fire. And we're blowing huge gaping holes in this line with being able to shoot canister at them. And as you can see, the cavalry is now cut off. They can't do what they were doing to us up here before, where the cavalry was up here and the infantry was out here shooting the square. Now they can't do that. Now the cavalry is cut off from the infantry because they can't get by these squares, and the infantry that's going to be stuck in here is going to catch it from this artillery. So pulling back was a good move here. Yes, we gave up the church, but you know what? The church ain't worth anything. The church was a good defense while we were holding this area, but it's not a point objective. This is the objective, which we've again lost. And as long as you you know, the French are able to keep troops and you know, in range of this objective. They can contest it and break up our possession of it. So we're going to see whether we can get it back or not. You know, right now we're really blowing a lot of holes in this unit here. And they've got it all wrong right here. Right now they've got their line out front and the skirmishers are behind. So the skirmishers can't even screen that unit. Just a quick check of Ligny. Doesn't appear that too much is going on here. We're looking at it from the French side here. I'm just making sure that units aren't getting bombed too hard by the artillery. This is all nice and quiet. And I'm going in, even though the hot spot is at Saint Armand right now, you know, for the next minute or two, you know, Saint Armand will be fine without me. But one of the AI's favorite tactics is when it starts to get going in one spot, it'll start moving troops into action in another spot to try to throw you off, or to try to distract you with what's going on here, and you know, they'll attack in some other area where you're not watching at all. But you know, I know that's one of the AI's tendencies, so you know, I'll quickly take a look around on the map and you know, check to see. So we've got the objective back again. Of course, the timer resets, but we are again in possession of it. And here's our area by the Tongrenel area, and again, nothing really going on here. We've got a nice strong position here. There's really nothing the French can do about this. Still see some cavalry moving off back here, right here. I'm not sure where they're going or what they're doing. It looks like they're just repositioning themselves. None of this cavalry is moving. All right, so the old guard has now crossed in here, and look at this. Look at this. These skirmishers out here. I know that again. They're trying to shoot up the square. Send out a skirmisher unit here and see if we can screen them. But again, now that you know, they can start the same tactics they were using before, where they're going to bring the cavalry forward to run off the skirmishers. So I can't screen the square from the French skirmishers, and the square starts getting shot up. Have to reorganize this a little bit. This line is getting their line of sight blocked by one of our own units, so their fire isn't as effective. So we're gonna have to see if we can reorganize some of this. And the objective is kind of going back and forth between us occupying it and the French contesting it, because they are in close proximity. They're just moving around a bit, so their numbers kind of change. So this is not a case of us not having a commander within range or not having enough men in range, because it's a 200-yard range, which is a double-edged sword, because on one hand, you have a lot more freedom of maneuver and still keep possession of the objective, and on the other hand, it's a lot easier for the enemy to actually move close enough to contest it. Right, that looks a little better. Now we've got a nice big firing line right here. And I'm going to bring us this skirmish unit and see if I can get them in front of this unit so we have a nice skirmishing line here too. First I have to see if I can actually get them to just go through the unit. Alright, so we've got our skirmishers up, screening the square so that they're now firing at the skirmishers here. The cavalry is back here, but hopefully they've used up all their energy and all their charges so that they can't just come forward and charge off my skirmishers again like they were doing before. That was a pain in the butt. All still seems pretty quiet along this position here. There's nothing out here anymore. Little supply wagon run. As long as I can keep these skirmishers here screening the square, then the square is not likely to take very heavy casualties because they're being screened by the skirmishers. And the French are being noticeably wary about coming too far in here. Because this really is canister zone 101 right here, you know, so they can't really come too close here. So they're trying to attack this part of the line, but you know, I've got two big line battalions back here. I've got one in reserve here if I need it, and I've got a skirmishing line out front here. Yeah, that unit is out of ammo. They're going to need, that whole unit is out of ammo. We're actually going to bring the supply wagon up and resupply these boys. So, okay, it does not look like the cavalry is going to attempt to drive off my skirmishers. Again, I'm happy about that, because that was actually working quite well for the French in terms of whittling down that square. And I'm going to try and advance these batteries a little bit, just to see if I can get some canister range. If I can get the guns into canister range. This is pretty far, though. I'm not sure if I can get them close enough to actually start tagging this unit. But maybe we can start tagging a couple of these units. Yeah, so this square is still getting shot up, even with the skirmishers screening them. The skirmisher unit itself is not doing so well, and that's probably because they're tangling with two French skirmisher units. And on the other hand, I'm hesitant to start building up a line of skirmishers out there because I don't want to attract the attention of the cavalry. So we have gotten our guns into range and we're pounding this unit and they quickly take off. So we've now gotten this unit resupplied, so they're going to start engaging. That'll add a lot of firepower. Probably thinking about putting a skirmish unit out here. Maybe sending them up in here to flank these skirmishers. I'm not sure what I'm thinking here. Yeah, I'm going to put them out here. And we're starting to drive off now that we've brought in our artillery up and are getting better shots. We're starting to drive this up, drive this away. And these guys are starting to try and advance, so maybe they'll walk themselves into canister range. Looks like the cavalry is withdrawing. They're beating it. And they've actually recalled one of these skirmisher units. So now we are just tangling with one skirmisher unit over here. I wonder, there's a whole bunch of artillery coming up here. This is new. This is reinforcements. These guys were not here before. So, clearly the French have some troops coming onto the field here. Probably up this road here. You can see the artillery batteries appearing. That's a lot of artillery. We're going to have to keep an eye on what appears down that road. It's probably either Lobau's Corps or the Grenadiers of the Imperial Guard, the real badasses of the French army. And they could be massing to head towards Ligny. I'm not sure yet. So again, we've taken the objective. There's still French within the area here, but I think they don't have enough men in range now to contest the objective. Because in order to contest it, you still have to meet the requirements that would be required to hold it. So I think it's 1,000 men you have to have in range of the objective, and I don't think the French have that anymore, whereas we do. So a whole bunch of guns moving. I can see, looks like 2 batteries. It could be the Grenadiers. And they're definitely heading towards this area in Ligny. So we're going to have to watch and see what's going to happen at Ligny here. Still nothing so far. Still pretty quiet. Nothing going on at the Tongren area either. So the old guard has pulled a little closer, and they've once again contested the objective. And I think that's a lot of that has to do with these 2 skirmisher units in here. Maybe we can take this unit here and see if we can get some flanking fire on these units. It's all a question of whether these guys out here are going to move forward and try to engage us if we do that. But let's give it a shot. So, all right, we have got an old guard unit to move forward here, and we're now clipping them with canister fire. And old guard or not, you can't stand there and take that. So it still appears to be just artillery. I don't see any infantry yet. So that doesn't worry me too much. You're not going to capture a town with just guns. Are these guys routed? Is that where they're running to? They're running to my lines to surrender? And it looks like that old guard unit has fallen back as well. And we now have the objective again. we're shooting at these guys in the flank, but this is what I was worried about, is that if we did that, we were going to entice one of these units to try and come forward and stop us. So maybe I can head them off at the pass, so to speak, and engage them with another group of skirmishers. Because we keep trading the objective on and off here between having it and losing it. And every time we lose it and then retake it, the timer restarts, so we're getting nothing from it. It's like a 10-minute timer. So yeah, that was a unit that surrendered. And now here comes some more. Now the chasseurs are finally starting to move forward. And they're kind of coming right into range of my guns here. This is exactly what I want. So this unit tried to come in through the town and got peppered by these skirmishers as soon as they did, so they're going to run off. And if we can bring this unit up in here, maybe we can shoot these skirmishers in the flank and get them out of here. Again, we have the objective. Oh, yes. Oh, this is money right here. Watch this. Oh, this is so good. This is what we want. Look at this. They're going to start eating it from these guns. And we're going to decimate these two battalions right here. We're going to light them up like a Christmas tree. And you can see our guns repositioned and getting ready to rip into this battalion. Now, the only real problem here is that these guns have been firing all day, so they're all exhausted. So their rate of fire will actually be slower than if they were, a fresh battery. So it's not going to be like boom, 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 like they would if they were fresh. They're going to take longer to reload and so forth. So they will pepper these units with canister fire. You can hear it going, but it's going to be longer between shots because of how tired these guns are. I can keep the guns and ammo all day, but I can't keep the men from getting exhausted. And this unit keeps trying to inch its way closer, but it's going to find itself in canister range as well. And again, we've lost the objective. Like I said, we just keep trading it back and forth, so we're not getting anything from it. But we're inflicting a lot of casualties on these two old guard units over here, so we're still getting points. I mean, that hurts. That really hurts. That really is a walloping we're inflicting on this unit over here. And yeah, even an old guard unit cannot stand there and take that for but more than a few seconds. And again, I'm just using the map to see what's going on and see, make sure everything is still kind of the status quo. After you know how everything looks, you can start to, and here we're ripping into this unit with canister fire. So this unit is hopelessly in a bad position here. They're shooting it out with skirmishers and two big line units, and they're getting plastered with canister fire, so they're not going to sit there for but more than another minute or two. And even though it's an old guard unit, you just can't take this. You can see the canisters just ripping huge holes into this unit, and that's like 30 men that drop every time they get hit with one of those. So you can't stand there and take that. So it's now 8 o'clock. And we have an hour and a half left in the battle here. Look how small this unit has become. They left, look how many of their men they left on the ground there. So we did a good job of repulsing that attack. Now the French have built up a lot of cavalry over here, but we have these two squares that are kind of standing in their way. And that river is a formidable obstacle to cross for cavalry. So again, we've retaken the objective. We've driven a lot of the French off, so maybe we can hold on to it for you know, for good now. There's nothing but a skirmisher unit here and some units in the church. And now I'm going to move the skirmisher unit forward and see if we can actually shoot this unit out of here. Get them, because if that unit's gone, they really have nothing in range of the objective. As long as I'm holding that objective, I won't abandon Saint Armand. As long as I can hold that objective, and as long as this position here is not being too heavily threatened. At this point, we've repulsed 2 or 3 battalions of the chasseurs. There's some of them back over here that haven't done anything yet, and the cavalry is all being held at bay by these 2 squares that are just sitting here blocking their route of approach here. So we have, what are we up to? 25,000 points. So we have a nice lead above 19,000 points. We've inflicted 17,000 casualties on the enemy. We've taken 4,600 casualties. So our stubborn defensive tactics here are really working well in terms of being able to hold on to these objectives and acquire a lot of points from them, as well as inflicting nasty losses on the French when they approach. And really, the defining factor here is down to my use of artillery. That's how we're inflicting these huge casualties, because we set up situations where, as the French approach, they take huge losses from artillery. While, you know, very early in the game, we used our skirmishers to turn all the French artillery around. The truth of the matter is the Army of the North actually had a lot of artillery, Napoleon's army. He had more artillery in this army than he did in, you know, any of his armies from the past 3 or 4 years prior to this, because of how many guns he lost in Russia. But the Army of the North actually fielded a lot of artillery, and a lot of good artillery. You know, so being able to keep them at bay and turn them around so that we can use our guns was really the defining factor. So more of these pesky skirmishers. I've never seen the AI use skirmishers this much. Really annoying. Now I know how the AI feels dealing with me using skirmishers the way I do. It is a pain in the butt to deal with. Alright, so again we have these, the objective, and we are shooting at these guys over here. You can see the little target right above their head, and hopefully they will rout, and then we will have this whole area back under our control. And are we actually, I think we're actually close enough with some of these end guns here that we're tagging the skirmisher unit with canister fire. Oh, it could be this, it's this unit right here. Yeah, okay. So here comes more cavalry. See what they're doing. Again, I'm worried about that they might come forward and run off my skirmishers. Pain in the butts that they are. How do we not have the objective again? Who is contesting the objective? Seriously. Oh, okay, here we go. Another unit coming in. Pain in the butts. So now we have to shoot these guys out of here so we can get the objective again. That's annoying because every time the French contest the objective, when we recapture it, it resets the timer. So we have to wait 10 minutes to get any points from it again. So that's, I really would like to drive these units out of here for good and have them stop approaching. Are you seriously going to try to charge? Alright, we're going to shoot these guys out of here quickly because they got a line unit shooting at them, a bunch of skirmisher units. Hopefully that will be the end of them. And once they're out of there, we can retake the objective. And everything is nice and quiet over here. Uh-oh. Something's going on. We got some French cavalry moving in on the right side of Ligny here. We're going to have to do something about that. Now, we have a lot more cavalry than they do. The first thing I want to do is take some units and set up a square formation to block their... It's only cavalry, so I want to block their advance. So I'm going to move a whole regiment here and just put them into square to, and we're going to double click them so they get there fast. Now the cavalry does have to get across this river before it can do anything. And in the meantime, we could just find some cavalry and maybe counterattack them. That's a lot of cavalry, but we have a lot of cavalry also. Not quite sure what I'm thinking here. What the hell do I have these guys doing? Oh, to try and turn around these guns? Oh, that's a long way to go. I can't believe I really tried that. I don't think that's gonna work. I don't remember if it worked, but obviously what I'm thinking of is to try to turn these guns around with the skirmish unit. However, they got a long way to go, and this cavalry unit is almost across the river already, so it wouldn't be any trouble for them to run them off. Okay, so I'm going to actually take an entire cavalry brigade here and counterattack them. And I'm going to let the AI carry out the attack. I've put them on all-out attack. I've given them their order. I'm going to throw 2 cavalry brigades at them. Nice. All right. Alright, so I'm putting, again, I took all the leaders off of take charge. I've set his attack stance to all-out attack. So we have 2 cavalry brigades moving in to counterattack these guys. And I'm letting the AI handle it. Did we actually turn back those guns? No, we did not. I've recalled those skirmishers. But here comes, look at this. This is all the cavalry right here coming forward to attack. And here's our units moving into position to form square to block the cavalry's advance. You're a little close to those guns, though. Yeah, back them off. Back them off. Good move, Rob. I wouldn't have deployed them that close with the guns. And the French are also trying to push into Ligny, so this is it, boys. This is now the attempt to outflank Ligny on the right, and Le Capitain's brigade is moving into the town. We have our own cavalry coming forward to counterattack them. And here comes the cavalry on the left, and here comes the grenadiers. All right, so it is on like Donkey Kong now. Now, what the French don't realize is, wow, they've also brought a lot of guns really far forward. That was a good move, because now they can start to blow these units apart. What the French don't realize is we have no intention of holding on to this town. So as you can see, I am withdrawing my troops. This is unholdable now. They've got artillery very, very close, and we are not going to be able to hold this anymore. So it is time to get out of Dodge here. Once they've got artillery, a whole bunch of it, really up close, they're going to be able to pound us to dust. They already are starting to, as you can see. And we are going to have to get the hell out of here. So Ligny at this point is now being pressed from the front, on the left here, and on the right. So Ligny is in real trouble. I said we would not be able to hold it. You know, once the French commit the Imperial Guard and they start bringing this cavalry on the flanks forward and moving their, artillery forward, that's it. You got to know when to give up. This is not holdable anymore. This artillery will pound us to pieces, and the town is being outflanked on both sides. Now, the left side, on the, over here, we're going to counter a charge with our cavalry and see if we can slow them down. But there's nothing we can do about the cavalry coming around on the right. So one of our squares has been run back. We're going to set them up here in a kind of checkerboard square formation. Here comes our cavalry now. Let's see if we can run all of this off. We're still holding the left side of the town, but with all this cavalry coming forward, it's time to get lost. It pains me to do this, to give up an objective, but you have to know when it's over. And you can see some of our units are getting charged by the cavalry now. They're buying us precious time to get out of there, but we got this set up. Fortresses, horsey forts, come and get it, boys. You don't want none of this. So I'm now pulling the battery, see if we can get them out of there and save them before the cavalry gets around. So we're going to limber up this battery, get them out of here. And we're going to form square with this unit and see if we can cover the retreat. Yes, a whole bunch of artillery. This is the 6th Corps artillery coming forward here, low bow. And just checking things at St. Armand here, real quick. Everything's okay. We got the objective back again. Good. Finally got rid of those skirmishers. But, okay, back to Ligny. Make sure this retreat is well underway here. All right. All right, form square, fellas. Checkerboard. All right, so we got a whole cavalry brigade coming forward on our left here to intercept these guys. And they're now moving off somewhere else here. They might be thinking about coming through the town. And yeah, it's really time to pull back, pull everybody out of Ligny here. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, well, Rob, why aren't you even going to make an attempt to hold the town? It's not really feasible. We're being outflanked. All of this is coming through the flank here. All we would do by staying there trying to defend the town and hold the objective for longer is get ourselves cut off. You know, and we're in real trouble here. You know, there's a lot of French artillery that's set up in a good spot here. They're bringing more units forward. And all the while we're being outflanked. So really, we're just buying time to try and get ourselves out of here. It's not really feasible to hold Ligny at this point. You know, by withdrawing in good order like this, and stopping the enemy from, you know, routing us as opposed to us just giving it up and withdrawing, we're not going to lose a lot of points. We already have enough points for a major victory, so the key is to protect that lead and, you know, not get ourselves in a situation where we're going to get run off with heavy casualties. We don't want to get routed out of this position. We're basically ceding it to the French and saying, come back here and take this. You know, so they're going to come through and, you know, fortresses, horsey forts, forget it. You know, they're not going to get through this. And I have another regiment back here set up to extend the fort over this way. Over here, we're only dealing with cavalry really over here, so we can have squares. We got a cavalry brigade coming through over here, and we're going to set up a nice defense over here. So basically, right around here, I think, is where the fortress horsey fort line kind of terminates. It's not really in the air because we have those units out on the left of Ligny that are anchoring it. Oh my. Yeah, turn around, boys. Don't give me any ideas. You know what happens when you guys start bringing guns nearby. I start thinking about things. Alright, so here we go. We are pulling our units back. Time to get out of here. And we will cede the town of Ligny to the French. Now this is still all going according to plan here. You know, this is the whole reason I set up the secondary line behind Ligny is, you know, I knew this was going to happen. You know, I knew that the French were going to attack the town like this. And here comes our cavalry. Go, boys. What happened to these guys? Why aren't they moving? Didn't I give you guys orders? I know I did. Yeah. All right, so we've lost the objective at Ligny. We knew we would. And these skirmishers here, you know, they're buying time for us. As well as this is a valiant fight this square is putting up here. We are letting them get wrecked, you know, because they're buying us time. But with the artillery set up here, I think it's time to pull them back and get them out of canister range. Letting a square sit there in canister range and get bombed on is asking too much of any troops. Besides, in reality, you know, we've pretty much evacuated most of Ligny at this point, and we want the French to come forward. We want them to try and engage this. We're going to kick the bejesus out of them if they try and approach this position. And here they come. moving through the town, but, you know, we got out of there pretty good. And there's von Ziethen, and that is no place for you to be, my first corps commander. No, you come back and you take charge of the fortresses here, the line of fortresses. So we pulled out of Ligny pretty much completely successfully, and we still have a few skirmisher units holding up in there, but largely we've gotten out of there. And our cavalry is running these. We ran all these guns off, and the AI is controlling this attack, the cavalry attack here, not me. But they're doing a good job. You know, I've got too many other things to worry about at this point to try and actually micromanage an attack. So sometimes, if you just want an attack to happen, just you know, it's worth it to just grab a brigade or a division, take all the leaders off, take charge, put them under AI control, put their attack on their attack stance on all-out attack, and then just use the command map to tell them where you want them to go and where you want them to attack, and you know, let the AI go at it. You know, done judiciously and selectively, the AI is perfectly capable of carrying out an attack. And it's just that I've got too many other things to deal with at the moment, micromanaging, that I can't deal with carrying out a full-scale cavalry assault like that. So I'll let the AI handle that. So we're pulling back. Our line of fortresses and horsey forts is all set up, and they are just chomping at the bit, waiting for these French to come through Ligny. We've got a nice bunch of squares set up as our defense against this French cavalry that appears to have gotten completely run off by my cavalry. Yeah, there they go. They are being held back. We've got some of their infantry forced into square. Oh, here comes a cavalry unit. And now, because I see what they're doing, I'm going to take charge of them. I'm going to take these guns. I see it. The AI was actually going to do that on its own, but as soon as I saw what the AI was doing, I was like, oh, okay. Let me just mash the charge button. I'll take all these guns in one shot here. And that's perfect. Because the AI doesn't really do that. The AI will charge, take one gun, and then stop to reform, and then, you know, if it's still alive after that, it'll take another gun. But once I saw what it was doing, I was like, I took command of that squadron, and now I'll take them off take command once I get them out of danger and let them be part of the group again. But yeah, always good. Even if the AI is carrying out an attack, it's always good to just keep an eye on things, because you might spot an opportunity like that where you can quickly come in, grab a unit, take charge of them, take a whole bunch of guns like that, and then go back to what you were doing. All right, so here are our first customers of the day coming forward. Now, as soon as they come within range, they're actually going to be forced into square because the cavalry is right here. And at that point, we can send out skirmishers to shoot them up while they're stuck in square. And if they don't form square, I'm going to charge them. So make up your mind, boys. See, and they're going to run. You can't. This is how this works. If you're going to approach this, you either form square, or I'm going to charge you. And if you get charged, you're running. So yeah, they decided not to form square, and I'm going to just charge into them. Now this unit is going to form square, but these guys, no, they're out. There they go. And then I will pull this cavalry back, but now we've formed these two units into square, and I will bring skirmishers out to shoot them up. This is how this works. Well, look how good my cavalry has done here. Look at this. ran the French completely off and bottled them up back across the river. Good job, boys. I didn't even do this attack. I let the AI handle that. What are we up to here? 26,822 points. So we have a huge lead now. And we extricated ourselves from Ligny very easily. And exactly as I said, we fell back behind our little position of fortresses and horsey forts here, and we're in good shape. So even though we lost the Ligny objective, we still have the Saint Armand objective, and we still have the Tongrenelle objective. And most importantly, we have this devastating setup back here. Oh boy. Oh boy, look what I'm thinking. I am so greedy when it comes to taking guns. If I see one battery left unattended, I'm just like, oh, I'm coming for you. So we are engaging this line unit here with our skirmishers. So these guys are screening the guns, or screening the horse. Look at this. And you know, there's a whole regiment of French cavalry back here that could come and screen these guns. But nope, they're sitting back across the river, and there's nobody in front of these guns. And you guys are gonna try and, like, what, form square? How's that gonna stop me from taking these guns? You can't charge cavalry. Notice I wait till the cavalry unit is right on top before I start hitting the charge button. There we go. And now just, this is so dirty. This is as dirty as it gets. Oh, now you guys want to do something. And, okay, so we've taken some guns and off we go. And I'll just bring them right back and let them rest and recuperate. I didn't get them all, but I got 3 or 4 of them. And the rest of them will retreat back across the river. Look at these skirmishers still in Ligny here. I still got Jagow in Ligny. Gotta get him back. Don't want to get him killed. You can see some French line units moving in. They've got both these skirmishers outflanked. See if I can get them out of there. I don't even know what units these skirmishers are from anymore, but we're gonna see if we can pull them out. The French have occupied this little meaningless farmhouse here. They've got the edge of the town here. My cavalry did a really good job of running them back there, though. I still got a whole bunch more cavalry over here. That's all cavalry, that's all cavalry. So I have a whole bunch of stuff that's not even committed yet. So, and I've got these, this is the brick wall right here. This is going to stop the French cavalry from coming through. There's nothing they can pierce this with. Oh, and I'm going to bring a whole cavalry regiment up and put them right by these squares, so that if any infantry approaches the squares, they have to form square too. You know, it occurs to me, yeah, I can take some of these skirmishers and start shooting at some of these units with it. So, yeah, it looks like we actually were able to extricate those skirmishers, and now we can start putting them to use. Now here, you know, this is what I say about the horsey fort, is if you come forward, you're going to be forced into square yourself. And square on square, line on line, it's all much the same so long as our units are, you know, all of the same formation. So this is an even fight right here, but we're going to make it uneven by bringing these skirmishers to shoot at the square. And you'll notice the French that were coming through the Ligny area with such a purpose a few minutes ago are now halting and rethinking things, because look what is in front of them. This is a monster formation here. Look at this. Guns, horses, squares. This is just, what are they going to do? This is devastating. See how things are going at St. Armand. We still have the objective. It's really quieted down. Wow. The French still have the church, but nothing else. It looks like the rest of the Imperial Guard is thinking about getting going here. You notice they've snuck their artillery up a little bit. So some more cavalry moving over. Oh yeah, come and get it, boys. This square, as soon as I brought these skirmishers up, they were like, no, we're out. We're out too. And like I said, this position is designed to hold against anything. There's virtually nothing the French can do to penetrate this position. It's just not going to happen. And while I threw this together rather hastily, this is an excellent position too, because it's nothing but cavalry over here, and we have cavalry and infantry and you know, a whole heck of a lot of cavalry too. Look at these heroes. Where the heck are they going? And here we are by the famous windmill here on top of the Sombref, Blucher's command post, and we'll have Jagow join Blucher, and we'll have a little team meeting. So these guys can form up over here, and they will become the source of skirmishers for whatever I need out here. And yeah, think twice. Think twice, boys. So now that I've gotten everybody out of Ligny here, I'll start, you know, placing the troops that I pulled out of Ligny in a more coherent manner. Right now that just kind of pulled everybody back behind the lines, but as more French troops start coming through, I want to be able to screen these squares and, you know, really I want to get a bunch of skirmishers out here. Because so far it's only infantry coming forward. The cavalry on the other side that was originally coming forward, that's supposed to outflank the town, they stopped. You know, they stopped on the other side of the river there. We've got this whole area bottled up nicely, and I'm bringing more cavalry in here to strengthen my little checkerboard of squares here. Another unit of squares over here, so we got plenty of infantry over here, plenty of cavalry, and yeah, this is the armored tank division over here. And like I said, we're just gonna keep knocking these attacks back. This is impenetrable. There's nothing the French are going to do to come up and stop this. Even if they brought the Grenadiers forward, the Grenadiers still have to obey the same rules of war. If there's cavalry, you stop and form square. And at 20:36, we only have an hour to go in the battle. So all we basically have to do is hold out for another hour, and we're good. We've already got the lead. We're probably around 27,000 points. And all we got to do is hold steady. So by pulling out of Ligny rather than trying to fight and hold a bad position at that point, how many casualties did we save ourselves? We took virtually nothing. We got out of there clean as a whistle. And yeah, we lost the objective, but we held on to it for long enough that we got a lot of points out of it. We got like 9,000 points out of that objective. And we are still holding this one. We're still earning points from this one. And we're blasting this guard unit to pieces. You guys have got to get out of there. Oh, look at that. They've got a cavalry unit in here. Let's see what they're going to do. I'd like to blast them with... Yeah, there they go. God, I love artillery. And we will, because there's only a cavalry unit here now, we will advance and form square. And it looks like they're trying to charge. But I think what's going to happen here is my artillery is going to blow them to pieces. And watch what this creek does for us. Watch what this river does for us. The cavalry is going to slow down to such a degree that that's it. Here they go. They're charging. But when their flag hits the river, look how slow they're moving. They slow to a crawl. Now I'll back the skirmishers off, but watch, our guns are going to be able to just pound these guys. And they take so long to cross the river that they're just going to get pounded, and I don't think it's going to happen. Look how long they're stuck. Now remember what I said. I've said before that a unit's flag is the true location of the unit. So as long as they're in this creek here, that's the true location of the unit, even though you might have some sprites out of it. So they're just getting wrecked right now. Oh no, my square lost a melee with cavalry. Are you serious? Did that really just happen? Wow. Okay, well, we're gonna have to bring this square up temporarily. That's a small square. They only got 200 men. But they're in good shape, morale and fatigue-wise. So yeah, these guys that couldn't make it across the creek, our artillery blasted them to pieces. That's why I said this is a good place to set up because this is a natural barrier to movement. And now we can just bring our skirmishers back up. I'm gonna have to start siphoning off some more units because it's getting thin over here. That's a small unit. We got another guard unit coming forward. Oh, the craziness of battle. And we are running that cavalry unit off. Alright, so this is a bad position for the square to be in because that's a whole guard battalion that's just going to be ripping into them. We got to get these skirmishers up in front of them. And I got to bring some more fresh units over there because that square is not going to hold for long. Look at these French, bunch of chickens. They don't want any part of this. You chickens. I can't really blame them. It's like, what do you want? You want to come forward and form square, or you want to come forward and get blasted by artillery? Neither choice is particularly appealing. So I understand them not really wanting to come forward here. what I'm doing is disengaging my skirmishers to see if I can entice them to come forward. But I really want them to. I'd really like them to eat all of this. Where did that cavalry unit go? Did they rout? Alright, so I've got a skirmisher unit set up in front of this very, very small square. See if I can screen this. There's a lot of cavalry back here now. I've got to get a fresh unit up here to take the square's position because they're not going to hold for long. There's nothing to it. There's 170 men. Some of these skirmisher units that fell back during the cavalry charge there, we can start bringing them back up. Here's some troops I'm not even really using. They're just hanging out. There's some French that are just deployed in the outskirts of town there. I don't know what they're sitting there doing. But I've got enough to worry about without starting a fight with them. Cavalry just running off everywhere. We really did a good job, or the AI really did a good job in carrying out that attack. So here we go. We got our little ring set up here, and the French just don't know what to do about this. And I'll just start kicking out skirmishers to screen these squares. Because if they come forward here, they won't necessarily have to form square because the horsey forts are off on the right. But if they come forward here, they have to deal with the canister fire. So it's lose-lose for the French. Come forward on a horsey fort, you got to form square. Come forward on a fortress, and you're going to eat canister fire. I wouldn't want to get the prize out of either one of those cereal boxes. I can't believe that square is still standing. It's actually did we drive the guard unit off that was attacking them? Wow. True heroes over here, these skirmishers. Yeah, but here come the cavalry. So we have I think we have a solid grasp on this objective now. I haven't seen us not have it in a while now. Where did that old guard unit that was right here go? Did they rout? You don't usually see that. Ah, well, temporarily, things have quieted down a little, so I am going to make a quick run to the fridge, guys. I will be right back. Alright guys, and I am back. And looks like everything is nice and quiet all along the home front here. We've driven back the French cavalry. Our cavalry is still running around like a bunch of maniacs. That's a lot of squares out there. That'd be a lot. That'd be asking a lot for the French cavalry to try and get through that mountain. And it looks like I'm going to extend the checkerboard here a little bit, just to block any route through. So the French have really they just stopped. They're like, nope, don't want any of this. And like I said, can't say I blame them. Where did all that cavalry go that was back here? Oh, I know what's happening. It's getting dark out. The visibility is starting to diminish. But like I said, this battle ends at 21:30, so we're only about 40 minutes away from the end of the battle at this point. It's going to start getting dark. But we still have the St. Armand objective now. And I have a fresh unit up here, but amazingly, this shabby square is still holding. And really no reason for this unit to be in square anymore. So, okay, all that's left here is cavalry. So I'm going to try and pull this square back and move this fresh square into position here. So a lot of close calls in here, and we did lose the church, but we still have the objective and our left flank held. And it looks like things are really starting to quiet down now in the last half hour of the battle here. So that great French push at the end there, you know, it was basically completely blunted insofar as much as I knew it was going to happen, and that was the entire point of setting up that secondary line is that I could just basically give up the town of Ligny, pull my troops back cleanly, and then the French would have to come forward and deal with a mass formation that they have no hope at all of breaking through. And in fact, they're not really making an attempt at it. They're just kind of held in check. So I've got a fresh square in position, 450 men. And okay, some more French are coming forward here. We have an old guard unit. Kind of a small one. We'll split out some skirmishers and just move them right in here, probably. That'd be a good place for them. Maybe not so small. I see more and more men filing into line here. Yep, I'm going to screen this unit right here, and we're just going to engage this unit right here. Not big enough to contest the objective, I guess. Look at this. With the decreasing visibility, they're like, let's try and sneak some artillery up. I love it. Look at this, you sneaky. With the visibility decreasing, they're trying to bring their guns forward. But nope, you boys are limbered. So we're just going to run you off with a skirmisher unit. I don't really want to capture them because I'll lose men, and I only have 70 men in this unit, but I just want to turn them around. I don't want the French artillery to be able to set up this close. And you can see a lot of them are already turning around. So yeah, anywhere outside these hedges, I'm fine with. You guys can set up there. Just get back. I just don't want them. I don't want them to be able to come in here. You know, just stay back. So, alright, this guard unit is pulling back. That didn't take long. These guns are turning around. Maybe I'll just let the skirmisher unit sit up here to keep the guns from coming back. Oh, look at this. They're trying to sneak forward over here, too. Love it. Now, if this cavalry moves out of the way, I might be able to go and grab these guns with a cavalry unit here. You know how I am with these guns that were left unattended. So with Saint Armand quiet and Ligny quiet now, or the area behind Ligny, I can focus on a few little small things here. So these guys are moving away from the guns. These guys are moving away from the guns. So I may have a nice clean line right here of nice clean run. I don't know where these guys are headed. These guys look like they're pulling back. Go get them, boys. Get those guns. Now, with this cavalry approaching, I may pull the skirmishers back and form this line into square right here. In case these guys think about attacking. I mean, I have a whole bunch of cavalry over here, and that's just two little squadrons, so... Oh, no, 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 no! Don't attack the guns! Don't attack the guns! Don't attack the guns! Wait. I didn't see all that cavalry. No, get back. Oh, that was a mistake. That was the visibility playing games with me there. I did not realize all that cavalry was there. However, they are retreating. So maybe I can get a shot at these guns later on. But I did not see them. There's a lot of cavalry over there. Sometimes my greed will get me in trouble. So I'm going to advance this unit and form square and just stop these guys from doing anything. Oh, look at this. I'm being chased now. That's alright. Run behind the square. Run behind the square. And the square will take care of them. Ooh. Almost got my tail clipped on that one. Alrighty. Alright, so we at least shot some horses out from under the men on that one. Yikes. Alright, so, so that didn't work out so well. I did not realize that all that cavalry was actually back behind those guns. And that was just because the visibility is diminishing and I can't see anybody past a certain range at this point because it's now like dusk. It looks like the French have given up the church. There's nobody in it. Look at this. Trying to pull their guns forward again. No. We're going to get you out of there. And more than anything, that I want to prevent the French from bringing their guns forward because if they can set up in close range, they can do a lot of damage even in a short time. I don't want them to give them a chance to crack this position open, so get out of there. Why am I charged? Yeah, that was a dumb move. I charged the gun with skirmishers, crewed them, which is 30 men, so they instantly lost 30 men out of a 70-man unit, and of course that made them rout. Nevertheless, the guns have turned around. We've got some more guard units moving in here. I don't know if this is part of the grenadiers or the chasseurs, and they've regrouped. More cavalry out here, but it's getting dark out now. It's the darker it gets, the harder it's going to be to carry out an attack. And when it actually becomes totally dark, basically if you try to move, you just rout. Alright, so we have our skirmisher line engaged. We have our units forced into square here. This is perfect. See if I can move the guns up a little bit. Get some canister fire going. There we go. That's a nice setup right there. Looking down anything that comes up over here. So as you can see, these skirmishers are just shooting the crap out of the square. My squares are nice and protected. My cavalry is nice and protected. And like I said, this position is virtually impregnable. And we'll bring those skirmishers to start shooting at that square too. And von Ziethen alone has 23,000 points. So he did excellent. We have 29,200 points total so far. So we are 10,000 points ahead of what we needed for a major victory. So basically we've won. There's really nothing the French can do at this point that's going to change. That's going to be a game changer. A half hour just isn't enough time to siphon off 10,000 points from me. Alright, so the French keep trying to bring their artillery forward, but we've got a skirmisher unit out here that's going to stop them from doing that. And I'm going to maybe move them into a more centralized position. And we've got, this is the gun that, this is a Prussian gun right here that we captured. Yeah, I think I'm going to send another skirmish unit out here just to keep these guns honest. Yep. Alright, so we've got more guard units coming up. Looks like 3 battalions. A lot of cavalry here. So things could flare up over here again. But if they drive off the skirmishers, kind of so what, because there's no infantry over here to threaten the squares, and the squares will just maul this cavalry down. Alright, so yeah, I'm just going to recall them and let my square shoot at the cavalry. Square does great against cavalry. It's only a problem if they're stuck in square and there's infantry. So yeah, now we've taken away everything that these cavalry units have to charge. And this is all cavalry right here. So, no infantry. So basically, yeah. Come forward, get canistered, and run off. As always, keep the supply wagons going. Now you'll notice I'm actually advancing a battery of artillery past my front line. with the diminishing visibility, there might be a chance to ambush some French as they think about trying to come through this area, and they can't see what's in front of them because it's dark out. We might have a chance to set up an ambush. Going on over here. Looks like some of our cavalry that I had set up here has repulsed some French attacks, but now they're just sitting out there, so I want to pull them back so they don't get shot to pieces. And we've got some square versus square going on here. However, my square looks much more substantial than that square. As you can see, it's really getting dark out now. So we got about a half hour left in this battle here. And as the visibility decreases, the French can try and push forward because they're able to bring more of their troops closer before I'm able to engage them. But I'm still totally confident that this position can hold against anything. You know, I set this up to be a brick wall. It cannot be breached. So the French are keeping a cavalry unit here just to keep me honest, just to keep me from taking this unit and running these guns down. And I form square here to keep this cavalry unit honest. Alright, so the French have retaken the church for all the good that'll do them now. You know, because I've pulled all this back now, the church is largely irrelevant. Alright, so here comes more guns trying to come forward, but watch. Turn right around. As soon as they come within range of the skirmisher unit, they have to turn around. So these two skirmisher units here are really doing a good job of keeping these French guns back. Because they can't come forward limbered. They just have to turn around. These are just a bunch of skirmisher units that have previously fallen back. Start bringing them back up. We have some skirmishers out here, some guardsmen. This is a captured gun, so I don't really care what happens to them. They still have some ammo, though, so maybe they can get off some shots. Nope, they're routed. They're, you know, really poor quality troops. Untrained, 0. The lowest you can get. So I'm not surprised that they're turning tail and running. And now the French are going to send forward some skirmishers because my skirmishers are holding their guns at bay. So we're going to turn our skirmishers to face them and use this skirmisher unit to keep the guns at bay. This is, however, 2 skirmisher units, and they're old guard skirmisher units here, so I don't know how well this is going to go. The darker it gets, though, the less and less will be threatened. Everything is quieted down at Tongrenel here, but we're still holding this objective. And we've gotten 4,300 points from it. Again, this is the objective that's worth the least. It's 50 points every 10 minutes or so. So that's why it's such a low total. So as the visibility diminishes here, the French can approach closer and closer, but it doesn't change the fact that once they get into range, it's a trouble. And this unit here has come into canister range, and they're going to get pulverized. You can hear it. That we're just and there they go, running off. And that's what I designed this to do. It stops anything and everything. So now we're gonna have to pull. I think we're gonna have to pull back. We got more infantry coming forward. I don't think we're going to be able to hold this. This is just 2 skirmisher units up here. But they're buying time because I'm actually bringing a battery up here. You can see, here they are. And yeah, I want to be able to pull these skirmisher units back and have them screen this battery. And I'm going to actually shift their position slightly so that they're firing this way. Right now they're kind of facing this way. I want to shift position and have them set up right like this so that they fire at these guard units to try and approach. And we'll bring our skirmisher units here back and to screen them. And it's really starting to get dark out now, so getting tough to see what's going on without zooming in close, which is why you see me moving the camera around a lot more now, because I can't really see a lot of what's going on. Make another supply wagon run here. And with it dark out, I have to just keep looking around and make sure the French aren't trying to be sneaky. And this situation is all pretty stable. And what I'll do is send some skirmishers out in front of this square to screen them, because now because I pulled the cavalry back, this unit can now form line. So we'll just screen the cavalry with the square with a skirmisher unit here, and the cavalry is protecting against a possible cavalry attack. So you see really limited visibility now. It's really dark out. I can't see my beak in front of me. Let's see how we're doing. 29, so almost 30,000 points here. All right, so let's see if we can entice these French to come down and get a piece of this battery. And I'm moving some skirmisher units. Ooh, I hear canister fire, so we might be catching them. And a routed gun that was a gun we captured. We don't really care about them. Alright, so the French are up here now. And if they start coming forward, and they're bringing their, looks like they're trying to bring their guns forward. Again, we've lost the objective, but who cares? We're almost 30,000 points. We're way, way ahead of what we need for a major victory. Alright, finally that square is getting a break. It's dark enough now that nobody's engaging them. Alright, so they were trying to bring artillery forward, but it got turned around by our skirmishers. You can't bring them that far forward. Who the hell is contesting this objective? Oh, there's a skirmisher unit there. So really limited visibility now. I really can't see anything of what's going on. So I'm just literally having to scroll up the line and see who's engaged and who's not. So, extremely dark out right now. I don't see anybody. So it looks like our cavalry is starting to pull back on the east side of Ligny. And really, I'm just bouncing from area to area right now and seeing if the French are trying to do anything dirty, while the visibility is so limited and I can't see what's going on. I'm blasting somebody with canister fire. I can hear it. It's probably at St. Armand where I have that battery set up. Really dark now. But yep, that's us firing our canister. So there's a whole French line unit in here now, so I think that's it for the objective. I don't think we're going to get it back, but move this unit over here and start shooting into this unit. Oh, we've got it. Of course, there's only, 15 minutes left in the scenario, and it's a 10-minute objective, so it doesn't really matter anymore. So we've driven that unit off. And it is super dark. I really can't see anything at this point. So this is the unit. We're probably blasting these guys with skirmisher, with canister right here. And the guns are screened. Oh yeah, I can see it going off. There we go. The guns are screened by the skirmishers, so they're not going to get hit. And let's see if we can just take this unit apart. Not much going on at the Ring of Fortresses. It's just completely unapproachable. 30,000 points, guys. So this was a huge, overwhelming victory for the Prussians here. We inflicted over 20,000 casualties on the enemy. We've taken about 6,200 casualties ourselves, so we really did an amazing job. Again, we've lost the objective, but like I said, who cares? I can't even see who the hell's contesting it anyway at this point. But as long as I hear my guns ripping away with canister fire, I'm assuming we're holding the enemy at bay. Now the only reason this line is still standing here taking canister up their butts for this long is it's a guard unit. Their troop quality is just so high that they'll stand there and take it for a long period of time. They won't take it forever, though. Sooner or later, they're going to break. That is a screen of blackness right there. I cannot see anything. And I'm bringing my supply wagon up to keep these guns in canister. And yeah, they're really building up over here. I can see another guard unit back here, here. But it's tough to come through this town, and you know, you're going to get hit with this canister fire from this battery now. And about 10 minutes left in the battle, guys, so we're almost at the end here of this monster 7-hour scenario. So at the very end here, I'm just bringing more units over here in case I need them. So this battery is ripping into these units. They've got 760 points. They're just doing a tremendous amount of damage. And like I said, the reason they're able to extract that many points from these guard units is because they will just stand there and take it. That's not the way I would use level 8 troop quality, but it is one way to use it. You know, unfortunately, all it's doing is helping us rack up more points because they're just standing there taking it. And we're just blasting huge holes in their line. Looks like once again we have acquired the objective. There's no longer enough time left in the scenario to actually get anything from it because it's a 10-minute timer on that objective, and we only have 9 minutes left in the scenario, or 8 minutes at this point. So we're not going to get anything from it. But hey, at least we close. At least we close with holding it. $859 points for this battery. And the guard is still standing there taking it, just shot after shot. I mean, their score must be amazingly negative. We're just ripping this unit to shreds. And I'm just sending this skirmisher unit to run this gun off. We're gonna break 1,000 points with this battery if that guard unit keeps standing there. Keep ripping into them. 923 points. And nothing crazy going on. Yeah, all quiet here. Pretty much St. Armand is the only area of any real fighting going on right now. And it is now nighttime. And what that means is a whole bunch of units that are engaged are going to start routing, but for all intents and purposes, the fighting is over. So it really doesn't matter. So you can see all these skirmisher units, they're all routing, and it's just because they were engaged at nighttime. And this is severe. This is a severe morale penalty for fighting at night, which is why pretty much all the fighting has stopped. You don't hear any gunfire anymore, so it is pretty much a wrap. So, all right, we still have the objective, and yeah, pretty much everybody's just going to stand still, and you know, there's a morale penalty for pretty much doing anything at night. So here we are, guys. 30,820 points. This was an overwhelming Prussian victory. You can see we inflicted 21,893 casualties on the enemy, and we took 6,200 points, 6,200 casualties, almost 6,300 casualties. You know, so we did an amazing job at holding the French back here, and a lot of that was just my experience at having played the scenario a bunch of times before, and you know, kind of knowing what's going to happen, having the foresight to set up that secondary line behind Ligny in advance so that I could cleanly give up the town and fall back with it, you know, taking hardly any casualties and basically getting out of there clean. And that formation that I set up behind the town is so ridiculous that it stops the French cold in their tracks. So they took Ligny, but it doesn't really gain them anything. And we've got about 5 minutes left in the scenario here, but there's no more fighting. It's nighttime now, so like I said, there's a severe morale penalty for pretty much doing anything at night, even moving. You can see everything is question marks now. We can't see any of the units. These are a whole bunch of skirmisher units that our whole skirmisher line basically that was over here routed, and that just happens from being in combat when nighttime happens. So they're just going to run off the field there. So as you can see, this right here, this was really the key to saving the situation here, because when we gave up Ligny, you know, we gave it up without fighting for it at all, really. As soon as we saw that we were being outflanked on either side of the town, we just gave it up and pulled all our units back behind this safety net right here. And this is a monster right here. And then we counterattacked the French cavalry that tried to outflank the town on this side of things. And we did very well. Our cavalry pushed them back, and we set up some squares and pretty much shut that whole thing down on the left. And that I just kind of put together on the fly very quickly. I was more concerned with the flanking attempt on the left side of the town than I was on the right side of the town. So we've lost a few points. Again, that's just because of routed units. You can see we haven't actually lost any more casualties because routed units don't count as casualties, but you do lose points every time units rout. So we are taking a few hits in points because, at night units rout that, try to do anything or are engaged in combat at the moment night appears. It generally mostly happens to skirmisher units. So I forget what we started out with here. I think about 84,000 men. So we're down to about 79,000 men. So we didn't really take that bad a hit. We are going to be able to, in much better shape, to help Wellington at Waterloo. There's no carryover effects, obviously, so that doesn't really matter. But so this is pretty much it for the Battle of Ligny as the Prussians here. And when next we return, we will again be playing the Battle of Ligny, but this time as the French, and we'll be playing the scenario. It's called the Eagle Triumphs. Some of you guys might remember it because it was the setting of that I used for the Grog Toolbar Demystified series, and that was just because a lot of the French units started way far back away from the enemy, and it was a good place to work without being disturbed. But this time we're going to be playing the scenario for real. It is again 7 hours long, just like this scenario, and I'll probably also split it up into the 4-part series, just like I did with this one. And yeah, that's a fun scenario too. It's a little more cheaper. There's a couple of things about that scenario that make it so that the French can, really just attack a couple of key points that they need to attack, and not do this like the French did here, where they kind of attacked all along the line. Really, in the Eagle Triumphs, none of this over here really matters. Ligny doesn't matter. Tongres doesn't matter. None of this matters because in the Eagle Triumphs, the first 3 objectives on the map are these 3. This one, and this one. But these are all, instead of being hold objectives like in this scenario, they're waypoint objectives. So when we capture one, it unlocks another one and another one. And there's a series of waypoint objectives, kind of like the French scenario for Quatre Bras. And, well, here we go, guys. Major victory, 30,852 points. Overwhelming Prussian victory. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for the old Fox fights back, guys. I know it was a long scenario. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, when next we return, we will be taking a look at the Eagle Triumphs, which is again the Battle of Ligny, but as the French. And I will show you, as I always do, the best way to beat that scenario. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. We're out of the battle here, and that's it for the Battle of Ligny as the Prussians. And hopefully you guys dug it, and I'll be back probably over the weekend. I will start uploading videos for the Eagle Triumphs. All right, guys, take it easy.